Okay, so this is my latest painting. Now, I'm filming this from the middle, and I'm just going to come in and zoom in. You can see I'm going to be working on the clouds, give you a little bit more of a demonstration to tighten them up. Nautilus and candy canes. Now, when we get to this one, I'm going to be doing some detail, but I will be putting the first part, how I got to this one, in the end, because it does have me speaking of my life, life and times of an artist, which is one of the directions I would normally go. So it is a little personal, but I always wanted to be this like a classroom. So explaining to my students my life, what's going on, why may I be kind of in this mood, so they have a better understanding. So that is what I am going to be showing. And if you don't want to listen to me talk, as soon as you hear my voice, when I start this one again, you can just stop. It's not going to bother me. Thank you. Okay, so this is kind of the beginning steps. Now I'm going to be coming in with some darker. Now I'm not going to do the whole thing because it would just take too long. So I'm going to concentrate a little bit on this section and on this section. Now this one's kind of the goal, but it should look different. Now I want to curve the line so that it makes sense of the excuse me. Now you may be hearing some crunching in the background. That is for my new puppy, Cinna, which I will explain that at the end of this video. So I'm just kind of rounding off the edges just so I can get a feel for what is happening here. Like I said, I'm not going to do the whole area here. You should be able to grasp what I'm doing. She loves that bone. Anyway, so what I want to do is just get it darker here. So I'm just kind of, I'm leaving the bottom a little bit lighter. Now the reason for that is I'm kind of thinking of a reflect light from the clouds. Now this painting spawned from another dream I had, and I haven't put anything out for, I guess it'd be a month now. I'm usually a very prolific artist, and if I'm not putting something out, there's probably a reason for it. But anyway, so now I have kind of a dark area and a light in the bottom. That's the sounds of a happy puppy. Now the reason her name is Cinna, because I just adopted her recently, And she spent most of her time, the first few days, just in my lap. She would not leave. I tried to take her and Cody for a ride in my car, and she was not happy. And she just laid at the very bottom of the passenger side. She would not move. And called up my adoption place, Watermelon Ranch. It's a non-kill shelter. And they said, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. And I said, oh, what do you mean? And the woman there said, even though they're young, they experience the car as being abandoned by their owners. And it's very traumatic for them to be in a car again, because they think that you are getting rid of them, and it just depresses them. So now it's just been this goal of mine to just get her used to the fact that I'm not going to abandon her. So it's just been little rides, little by little. And I'm just kind of doing the lines. There are some lines in here that, from the growth patterns of the Nautilus. Now this center part, it's not an eye. It's actually kind of like a growth, like the center ring. And sometimes it has little things that kind of, and I'll pull some color out here and kind of switch up brushes. And if this is your first time seeing one of my videos, I do have a bit longer introduction of who I am. I'm not going to put the small introduction on this one. I'm just going to do the painting part. And this is actually the eye. And I'm going to put a little bit of cobalt blue in there to give it just a little bit of a highlight. Now I'm putting it in there, and I'm going to come back and pull the color out. Make a highlight. And I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow at the top. And kind of round this off. And I'm going to come back in here, Payne's Gray, and just define the edges some. Now, I call my work alternative watercolors, mainly because of my background. I needed to put detail I know there's a style that's out there a lot that they do the work really quickly, and that's not me. So I just kind of call it alternative watercolors. For some of the people that never thought that they could actually do detail with watercolors, because they're so used to these other techniques of artists doing everything loose, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a different style. I use some of those same techniques in my work, but not for everything. I will do a mixture, and I'm going to do some overlapping. It helps with the illusion. It's more of a dry brush, so and it helps with the reflect. And I'm going to probably come in here with just not a really dark line, but just an edge. Okay, that's not looking too bad. I'm going to put another little edge on the eye. Now I'm not going to do the whole thing, but just give you an idea how I would do this part. So I would kind of lay down kind of a base color, and then I would pull out the highlights. And that's how I did the other side. Now I may go in there several times. Every time I go in there, it's a little bit lighter. Like I said, I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'll just probably just do this little area so you can get the idea. I don't like making long videos. I want to show you how to get there. Now this has like an edge right here. So I'm coming in there, lightening it up. And I'll come back in here several times to lighten it up. And then it has this reddish brown. Now these are in layers. So, and what I'll do is kind of come in here and kind of go around some of these things. It's still wet, so there is a little bleed in, which kind of helps. And I'll leave an edge here or two. And I'm just giving you the idea how I would just do this whole thing eventually. So I'll curve it right here because it does come to a point, like this one on this side. And now I come in with a little bit or darker brown, not totally wiping out what I have here. It's just adding. How much are we on time? Okay, 14, so that's, I don't want to get too much longer. So I'm just going to do a real quick for the tentacles. Now, they're actually white. So, the white against white on a cloud is not going to show up. So I do it in blue. Now I'll overlap these so that I can make them look like they're multiples. So I stop right there, come through. Now if I want to make one on top of the other, like this, I could also do it here. So I'll just pull the color out automatically puts this one behind this one. And now I'll put a little bit of a darker edge, just slightly. And sometimes this takes several attempts. I don't want to make it too strong. If it does go strong, I'll just lighten it up. Now these are kind of the attachments. Another part of the connection on this. Now I'll just put a little brown in there and kind of, now this is where my, what I call scribble technique comes in. So this is that random kind of stroke that helps with the realism. Nature is random, and if you think of it like that, those little teeny strokes here and there will help with the illusion. And you can see it's all over the place. But just the building up slowly of these little strokes just add to the effect. And one more little highlight, and that's center part. This is a chambered Nautilus. Anyway, so you can see the process. Now I'll go into this. I'll probably make this candy cane just red and white, normal. And I just wanted to do that little demonstration on the clouds. So I'm coming in here, just breaking up that roundness. Sometimes those are way too round, which bother me. I mean, there are some clouds that have that type of look, but I like just to break up the edges. If the crunching is getting louder, it's because Cinna is right below me. He doesn't like to be too far away from me. Anyway, it helps with the illusion of clouds if I break it up here and there. Anyway, so I'm going to stop it right here.